Silence is not neutral, it's information. Sometimes people don't deceive you with what they say, they deceive you with what they leave out. Silence matters when there's a reasonable expectation of a response. So, for example, you may expect someone to respond with just a simple reply back, or a commitment, or a contract, or a decision that's left on the table. 3 types of silence. The silence of lack of capacity. Sometimes people don't respond just because they can't. They don't have the ability to, they don't have the time, they don't have the capacity, their plate is full, and they just are not able to respond. Another example would be avoidance silence. They can respond, but they're avoiding the accountability and responsibility that it takes to be responsible. And another type of silence is control silence, where they still can respond, but they're choosing not to in an effort to maintain control. The type of silence that you're dealing with determines how you're going to respond. It says nothing about you, your value. It says more about the situation and the person on the other end. For example, I was searching for a car recently and I spoke with a salesperson regarding a line item on the purchase contract that I would like removed. I had talked to him about the purchase contract in person, and this was a follow-up text message that I asked, could this line item be removed because I think it's excessive and I don't want to pay for it. He did not return that text message. He did not respond. A couple of weeks went by and I had heard nothing back from him. Of course, I had mentally moved on because in the time frame that I expected a response, which was in a day or 2 at most, I'd already said I'm not purchasing from this salesperson. Just on pure lack of response and pure silence alone told me enough that I needed to know that I did not want to buy from this person. He ultimately responded and said, I was on vacation. Hey, we got a couple models left in the store here and we'd love to see you come in and check them out. What? No. Okay, absolutely not. The deal was done a long time ago. The answer was no. Let's talk about the type of silence that was happening in there, what the situation was, and how I had resolved it. There was a signal that alerted me that silence is happening. And what was that? That was just simply not a response to my question in a given amount of time. I was expecting a day, max 2 days, no more than that. It was a text message. When I was not getting that answer within the day, I was already one step out the door and not giving him a chance to sell me a car. 2 days, it was a done deal. I'm not going to buy from someone that can't respond to a text message. We're spending multiple thousands of dollars. There's no way that he's going to earn my business by not responding to a text message. So the signal was there was no response after a certain amount of time. There could be other signals that alert you to, okay, this silence is going to mean something and you need to act accordingly. Silence such as a vague response. Like, they may respond, but it needs nothing, no direction towards the answer to the question that you had posed. Or changing the subject. That's still a non-response, right? Because it did not answer the question that you'd put forward. Or endless circling back. Let me circle back to you. Let me get back to you. That is breadcrumbing. That is giving you just enough information to hold you on to the next step, And that is just an experience that no one wants to go through. So what does that signal mean? When you see the signal, the lack of response, the breadcrumbing, the avoiding of answering the true question, that signal, what does it mean to you? How are you going to interpret that? Don't interpret it internally. It's not about you. It's about that person that is not answering. Why are they doing it? Are they not prioritizing you? Is it something that they're doing out of disrespect? Is it just not aligned with something that they're capable of doing? Do they not have the capacity? What does it mean? You interpret that meaning for yourself. It's yours. This is your interpretation and you're allowed to make that interpretation. Whether or not it's accurate or not, you don't know, but you're allowed to make an answer for yourself. You can validate it later if you like. If you don't, you just simply move on. But for me, I need an answer for myself in order for me to take the next step. And I talked about that in the last episode. This answer of forming one for myself when I don't hear back in an amount of time, That's for me to move on. That's for me to put closure on and make a decision and move forward. So the decision is the next step. What are you going to do about it? Once you saw the signal, you interpreted the meaning. Now's your time to make a decision. What are you going to do? You can say, I give a deadline. And in my example of this car salesman, I give them 2 days max to respond to my text message. And if that doesn't happen, then there's no way that I'm going to buy a car from him. Any car, let alone the car that I just asked about. All right? He's lost my trust. He's lost my ability to work with him. As a matter of fact, not just him, but the entire dealership. If this is your salesperson that you put forward, the salesperson is representing your company, and I'm not going to deal with your company, which I did not, just on that premise alone. So you make a decision for yourself. Let's walk back through those steps. The signal was, I asked, I didn't get a response. 1 day, 2 days, max, right? What did I interpret the meaning of that? Well, it wasn't his priority to respond to me. It was not. Okay, a couple weeks later, I found out that going on vacation was more important to him. He put no protocol in place such that I would get a response from him while he was on vacation. It wasn't a priority to sell. So why should I have to deal with that? I didn't, right? So that's the meaning that I put into it so that I can move on to my decision, which was I'm not going to buy from this salesperson. I'm not going to buy from the entire dealership. These are things that I've done to make sure that I'm able to move on with meaning, with a firm, confident decision. When someone doesn't respond, they're answering this question: can I ignore you and still have access? Like the example, he didn't answer my text message for a couple of weeks. He thought that he still had access. No, you don't. Not anymore. Here's how you can deal with situations such as this. Tool number 1, the deadline test. You have X amount of hours, days, whatever limit you want to give them before I make meaning and make a decision and move on in the framework that I just gave you. Tool number 2, a receipts rule. If it mattered, it would show up in some kind of way. That receipt that I was looking for, hey, if it mattered to him, he would have some type of protocol in place such that when he gets a text message and he's on vacation, it routes to someone who is available, or he has an auto reply. And since none of that was available, since I got no response for a couple of weeks, he lost business, right? So I'm looking for some type of receipt, something that firmly says, hey, we got you. We caught you. You put it out there. We caught it. We're going to deal with it. Either deal with it immediately or tell me when you're going to deal with it. Tell me that there's a next step and be firm in that next step. And I'm looking for that next step, okay? We need receipts. That's a receipt rule, tool number 2. Tool number 3, the 2 ask limit. I'm not asking more than twice. The first time is an ask. The second time is a follow-up. After that, in this short-term situation, no, there's other dealerships. I'm moving on. I didn't even ask for a second time in this case. It's too easy to move on to the next dealership. We have a couple of tools that we can use when we get silence. If you like calm breakdowns that help you decide faster, subscribe. Next episode, patterns don't lie. One delay is noticeable, but a pattern is a decision.